Jersey City.
Everybody, welcome to another Just Enough Heshy show. We're going to have an interesting show tonight. Boomy, welcome back to my show. How are you?
Good evening, Heshy. I'm fine, thank you.
So wonderful. You're looking great, better and better.
Well, I've been married now for 2 weeks, as you know. So,
wow, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That. By the way, I lost 5 pounds.
Congratulations to you, Heshy. Once you lose 50, we'll start to notice it.
Sawyer, my beautiful co-host. How are you, Sawyer?
I'm wonderful.
Good, good. Welcome back to the show. You look so pretty. And we have tonight a special guest in our show, guys. Our show is going to be a little bit more serious than normal. His name is Avi Dror. Avi, say hello to our studio audience.
How are you, Heshy?
Avi's father.
It's never enough, Heshy.
I love you. You see? I
need 50 pounds.
Avi's a good-looking boy. Avi lost his father in Maimonides Hospital. They treated his father. They left him like a dog on the stretcher for 2 weeks. We had a protest last week where none of the politicians comes, but Avi's. And I want you people to call into the show. And Boomy, what number do they call into the show?
Well, it's 718-303-9090.
And Sawyer, what number do we call in?
718-303-9090.
Wonderful. 718-303-9090. You can watch us on YouTube, Just Enough Heshy, Facebook, Just Enough Heshy. After the show, you can pass it around. I want you guys to call in the show for a couple of minutes. And at the second half hour of the show, we're going to take all your calls. Ask Avi anything. Avi's going to play a recording for you guys that are going to blow you away. And you're going to see why I did this protest, why I'm upset with our politicians, why we're going to do a bigger protest next time. Tonight, matter of fact, after the show, we're going to have a big powwow with Avi and a bunch of community activists and a lot of people from the neighborhood that we're going to go after. Maimonides thinks they can laugh at me. I know, Boomy, you don't like me going after Maimonides.
No.
I love Maimonides, but if they're not going to cooperate, and none of our politicians, they're all trying to take credit for my parks. Fine, go ahead, take credits. I don't care. You know, but you can't complain about the hospitals if you don't come. Telling me stuff that you're doing, calling, you're getting upset with the governor. That's not good enough. Why aren't we seeing you talk to us? How come my people are calling your offices, Mr. Felder, and you're not picking up the phone? I'm not screaming at Senator Felder. I'm screaming that I don't hear him on TV every day screaming and hollering.
He pops up every now and then after you've done something to take credit for what you've done.
He does show up, though.
And you know what? I'm going to take credit. I went upstate this Sunday, by the way, and I opened up a special needs camp.
Congratulations.
And the boys surrounded me, and they spoke, and the counselors told me.
And you ran night activity.
And I ran night activity as a judge. And they said, we never heard the dining room so quiet when you spoke. Those kids love me. And that's what it was. And as I walked through Woodburn upstate, people stopped me and thanked me. It's not just that, guys. We got to stick together. The next protest, a lot of people said they didn't hear about it. I'm going to spread the word. And with Avi's help, we're going to blow this place away. It's not we want to go against them. We want our family members to sit there. You know, I heard Carmen Yeager talk on the show before us on the Zeb Brenner show. I understand what you want, and the hospital's not giving it. We have to make them give it. Don't say they can get away with it. We need you to call up our politicians, our representatives, and the powerful people. Don't say that they didn't do it or that we want you to do it. You can get it done. That's why you're there. Heshy Tischler cannot do it. He's not a hired representative, and I will get it done. You will see I will get this done.
I have
just like we opened up camps. 3 camps opened this Sunday. We don't care about you, Governor Cuomo. Jump in the lake. And Mr. Mayor, by the way, I was at a protest this morning to support our police officers.
Wonderful. They need every bit of support we can give them, and they're entitled to it as well.
I put on a T-shirt. They gave me a T-shirt.
Did you bring us one?
I have one in the car for you. And when I was walking, people screamed, "Oh, you have a cross on your shirt." These were the people who sponsored this walk. The police officers came over, said hello to me. People so nice. Everybody said who recognized me said hello to me. And we walked. And then there was a fight on the bridge with the police because of a counter-protest. How could this happen? How could this? And then on July 19th, I hear, in Mill Basin or somewhere, they're going to have a protest against the cops. I'm going to go there and be their counter-protest. And let me see. Anyways, we got to pay for the show, guys. So what do we have? We have
Chamula Jewelers.
Wow.
They've got the sparkle for you. I'm supposed to do that at the end, aren't I?
Yeah, he's supposed to.
They've got bracelets, necklaces, rings, earrings, all sorts of jewelry for anniversaries, birthdays.
And they're in business for over 40 years. They're located at 944 Kings Highway.
718-336-1980.
718-336-1980.
They've got the sparkle for you. We've got Chamula Jewelers, we've got the sparkle for you.
He's never going to get, and you know, he practiced with me before the show. This boy can't just get it right.
But they've got everything for you.
They've got everything for you. Call them up, 718-336-1980, located at 944 Kings Highway. And then we have TT Styles.
TT Styles, Tehila Tischler. She brings out the beauty in you.
718-675-6842. She's back in business. You can go do your hair, your wigs, your makeup with her for weddings. 718-675-6842.
Tehila at ttstyles.com.
TEETEESTYLES.com. Check out her website. And then we have Avi Fleischer. He's been helping me with my computer since we moved. 718-259-4593. 718-259-4593. 1504 60th Street. All your computer needs. He's a wonderful guy. Tonight he was telling me, Heshy, you hooked up your computers wrong. You're stupid. I fixed it for you. I said, Avi, I'm not stupid. I pay you for it. He says, okay, I'm going to bill you again. This boy just tortures me, but he's beautiful. He's wonderful priced. 718-259-4593. Avi Fleischer, technical difficulties. He's very good, and I like him very much. And then this week I went to a barbershop. I'm finally got a real. I didn't have to pay $100 for my haircut. 777 Barbershop, located at 425 18th Avenue. 718-484-2499. 718-484-2499. I called him. I said, I'm coming over. He says, Heshy, 15 minutes. Be here. Have a seat for you. Call him up. 777 Barbershop, located at 4225 18th Avenue on the corner of 18th Avenue and East 2nd Street.
Green Line Solutions.
Green Line Building Solutions.
Green Line Building Solutions.
We finally moved to the new location at 202 Foster Avenue with parking.
We do building consulting, violation removals, construction management, owner compliance contracting, licensed Department of Building expediters, designs, fire department, HPD, criminal court, Department of Finance.
Basically, we do everything.
Everything.
Everything you need with a building. We fight the city.
718-871-0382. That's 718-871-0382.
The next one is mine, Fallon's Corp. I love this girl. 3132 Bedford Avenue. I just got her building legalized today with a permit. She doesn't even know. I forgot to call her. Fallon's Corp. 718-325-5667. Beautiful clothing for adults, teens, and children. What kind of clothing does she have, Sawyer?
She has beautiful clothing for adults, teen, and children.
Beautiful. We did it beautifully. 3132 Bedford Avenue, 718-325-5667. And my favorite guy, Wolf's Grocery. Where's he located?
2362 Nostrand Avenue.
He's not on the corner. He told me to say it again this week, the wacko. He's located almost off the corner, on the corner of Avenue J and Nostrand Avenue from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 718-252-1863. 718-252-1863. He's located at 2362 Nostrand Avenue, Wolf's Grocery. Wonderful people, wonderful brothers. I like them. I really don't like him. I like his wife. He's much nicer to me than him, but he's really a good guy. He's going to scream at me this Shabbos when I visit his mother. Anyways, we have, of course, my favorite guy. He called me today he from Traveler's Choice.
Oh,
wonderful guy. Joseph and Devorah Leifer. Two wonderful people. You know, I went to their house this week and she made me a nice plate of food. And I said, no, I can't eat it. I'm embarrassed. She says, no, and she packed it for me to go. As I got in the car, I pulled it around the corner. I stopped. I ate it right away. Wonderful cook. Wonderful girl. They are my favorite travel agency. They can do everything for you. From trips to Israel. They're booking you now cheap trips to Miami. They're very wonderful people. For all your travel needs, go to Traveler's Choice at 212-868-8698. Is the only choice.
The only choice.
212-868-8698. Ask for Yossi Devorah Leifer. Tell him Uncle Heshy sent you, and we're good to go. We are going to start our show now, ladies and gentlemen. And Dimitri is going to pick up your call, 718-303-9090. But we need a few minutes to talk to my boy Avi Dror. And I want to tell you who Avi Dror is. Sawyer and Bumi, Avi Dror is going to tell you a little bit about himself. But this boy came to the protest. He spoke. He got how many hits, Avi, on the internet? Over 20,000 hits on the internet?
Over.
People are just watching him. And the police officers were so nice. They let him talk. And this guy was just great. And I want you to know, Chief Scholes, you were so good at that protest, helping us and being calm and even though there should have been more people, it would have been wild, but you were good to us, even though one or two people flipped out on us. I love my police officers. I support my police officers. You're right, every once in a while. We have to support our police officers all the way. But Avi, I want to ask you a question, Avi. Before we start this show, you got to tell us quickly what happened. How could this possibly be that your father, what I heard, Avi, your father laid there for 2 days crying, then they stole his phone and it was found in Jersey? Impossible. Tell me what happened.
He called up.
How did he get to the hospital? What was wrong with him?
He had pain in his feet.
Pain in the feet.
Exactly.
Okay.
He went in there. We went. I dropped him off. Actually, Hatzalah came first. Sent a private company, and they took him to Maimonides, and he was in the tent outside.
In the tent.
In the tent.
They left him in the tent
for 30 minutes or an hour around something, and I was there with him. And then they took him into the hospital.
And they didn't let you in?
They didn't let me in.
That's crazy. You're a family member. You want to make sure he's treated well.
Yeah, well, they need to do their things inside.
Right, right. Go ahead.
Once he was inside till Shabbos, he was okay. Everything was fine.
We have a problem, Avi.
Yes.
We have a problem. I forgot to tell my joke and quote of the day.
Saturday night.
Well, let's pause and let's
We
hear
have
it.
to pause,
because
Avi.
I'm hurting with Avi.
Avi, we have to do the quote. I'm sorry, Avi. We have to do this. My quote of the day, and this is for Avi. Peace is not something you wish for. It's something you make, something you do. And Avi is a man who's a peaceful, loving man. And when somebody hurts him, he's going to try to make peace, but he wants to make peace in this Jewish community. He wants to get the people of our community together. We have to stick together because they cannot kill our family members. 1,400 people just died. And you know why I found out? When they came in, and Avi's going to tell you, they put him on a ventilator. No, nothing. Of course they're going to die. 80% of them die. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. And I believe in peace. And I believe we should have peace with our police officers. I believe we should have peace with our doctors. And Avi will talk to you. But if you're bad to us, this is not going to be good for you. And I'm going to come after you, Maimonides Hospital, because I'm not happy that my people died. Anyways, can I tell you a joke about my mother? Because Linda told me I can't joke about her. She got very angry at me last week. No jokes about Linda this week. Hello, Sawyer.
Yeah, good.
What do you mean good? Don't we make fun of our wives?
No.
Okay, well, I'm making fun.
I try every now and then, but I get, I spit teeth when it happens.
On a wintry day, I took my 84-year-old mother to the supermarket. It was very cold. And my mother was all bundled up with the cold. She had her gloves on, and she was having trouble at the counter counting the exact change. And evidently, she took a little too long. And a man behind her started screaming and started cursing. And my mother turns around and said, "Be quiet or I'll start writing a check." You know, it takes a long time for it to write. Anyway. Okay, well, it was a good joke. So Avi, back to you, Avi. Your father was dragged into this hospital, sick like a dog, but for his feet. And what happened?
They basically kept him in the emergency room till Sunday morning.
A minute, you took him in when?
Friday afternoon.
And they left him with no visitors in the emergency room?
Yes. And he called up on Saturday, Shabbos, Friday night, saying that he's thirsty, he needs water, he needs food. He called my brother up at 10 o'clock at night. And that's when we started getting nervous.
On Friday night?
Friday night.
On Shabbos.
On Shabbos.
The man is sick. He's laying
No,
there.
no.
He's sitting there how many hours already?
Shabbos for water. I mean, he must have really, because...
Go ahead, Avi.
Wow.
Yes. And that was the last conversation until Sunday afternoon. Motzei Shabbos, the whole entire Motzei Shabbos, or the whole Shabbos, you could say, we're waiting for the hospital to call us, and there's no calls. We were calling them. There's no answer. There's no doctor. Every time you call, the doctor is never there. He's not on the floor right now. He's not here. He'll be here later. He'll call you back. Never.
Did anybody try to get into the hospital, to the emergency room over Shabbos while your dad was there?
Nope.
Nobody tried?
No.
Why not?
We didn't think that it's so critical over there, or that
They didn't let him in.
We didn't think that they can abuse someone, especially a local community hospital. We have our activists over there, and you could say patient reps who are over there. I don't believe in any of them anymore.
Right.
I think they're all getting paid by the hospital,
Correct.
and we should not trust them or believe in anything they say.
And Avi's going to tell us about nurses.
I understand what you've been through. There are going to be changes. No question about it.
Avi said he's going to tell you nurses that will testify. They're telling you of the abuse that was in there. But Avi, so he's in the house. He's in the emergency room. Now it's a day later. They didn't let you in. He called you for water. What happened then? You called these doctors. And now I know something interesting happened. You're going to love this, Sawyer. What happened afterwards? You finally got in touch with a nurse over there to talk about your father, right?
Yeah, but they didn't give me an answer. They just started making things up and saying he's fine, he's okay. And that answer
was when?
This is on Motzei Shabbos.
Saturday night. It's over 26, 28 hours.
Basically,
okay,
they were telling you, they're telling everybody everything's okay, everything is fine. Meanwhile, you don't know exactly what's going on. That's what they told all the patients. So they lied to everybody. And I started feeling suspicious.
You mean all the family members?
All the family members.
You started feeling suspicious
that something is wrong with the way they're answering, because when someone's sick, you have explain to him what's going on. And I started recording the calls after I realized that there's
Are you saying that all their responses were identical almost? It seemed like it was scripted?
100%.
Now listen to what happened next. Avi finally recorded this part of the conversation, which he's going to play the recording. But tell us lead us up to the recording, what you did. You finally got in touch with this nurse, and she tells you everything is fine, and you review it with her, correct?
Everything is fine. Everything's okay. He's all good.
Play that recording for us, Avi. I want you guys to hear this recording. He's talking to the nurse. She says, your father is fine. Your father is well. And this is where it gets really crazy, Avi. When I heard this recording, it blew me away, Avi. Can you play the recording for us?
Sure.
Put it to the mic.
Okay.
Hold on. He's going to play this recording. I want everybody to pay close attention.
Your father is safe. He's here. He's admitted. He's alert. He's oriented.
My father, are you the doctor?
I'm the nurse practitioner. The doctor is not here right now.
Okay, I understand. Because since Friday, I didn't get any doctor calling me, and I'm called.
Who is your father, sir?
Isaac Dror.
Now, she just said that her father is fine, and then she asks, who's your father? Do you understand that this hospital was, and then the man died? Avi, when did you find out he died? What happened?
Well, we have a recording of the nurses saying at Tuesday night at around 7. Well, his situation went down critically was over Shabbos when they didn't give him what he needed, and that's when they tortured him. So his phone was stolen, so we couldn't speak to him till Sunday afternoon. His phone was in New Jersey. We picked it up from somebody. We tracked it down, and we had the police come pick it up. My brother went to get it. So when we got a new phone up to him, it took me around 9 o'clock in the morning till around 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
How'd you get the phone to him?
Begging nurses, calling up people just to get a phone up to him. I'm downstairs and my father's upstairs. I couldn't get the phone.
You don't mind.
But I just want you to know, now when you check in, and I checked in 2 people Friday, they make you they don't let you take your phone in, and they don't let you take your personal stuff in. I'm just telling you, they don't want you to have a phone.
I'm shocked because I'd never heard that before, but I'd like to stick to the timeline. Are we talking about Sunday now?
This is Sunday.
That's insane that you can't have a phone in there.
Right.
Well, we got a new phone up to him. I put it in his tefillin.
Was he admitted into a regular room at that time?
From Friday afternoon till Sunday, around 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, he was in the emergency room. I have the recording of my father Friday on Sunday, at around 5 when he got the phone, 4:48 exactly. The first thing he said was water. And I don't want to play it. Right. I don't think that it's people really get...
You should let them, because we need them at our thing.
It hurts to hear how a guy begs for water, and I can't believe it. He's like, yeah, they kept me here like a dog the whole Shabbos. And
Avi, you got to play it. You got to play it for us, Avi. You got to. I know it hurts you. I need these people to believe this story. This kills me that a man has to beg not for food, for water in today's day. And that's why
that's a basic necessity.
And when we volunteers are in there, we run around with water and blankets, and so over and over again, people make fun of us. Avi, play it, Avi.
I could play. Let's play where the hospital is saying that they're changing their policies.
It's not changing the policy, Avi. They have to see
that they're going in the room every hour. So let's imagine if they're going in every hour now, what were they going in a day before? So we want to hear that.
Upstairs,
well, we can play that.
Avoiding going in because they were afraid of COVID and all the PPE they have to change every time they go in. So, and they were closing doors. All that has changed. All doctors were informed. All nurses were informed. Every patient has to be checked once an hour. They relaxed a little bit the PPE policy to make it easier on them to go in. Every patient will be checked every hour. That's obviously the policy now. We're going to be monitoring it to make sure that that happens. In addition to that, most importantly, they have committed to us that as long as they have enough respirators, which we'll talk about in a moment, they will intubate and put on a respirator every single patient that comes in, no matter of age, no matter of comorbidities.
But Avi, I don't understand that.
So they're changing
Did your father need an incubator?
No, he needed water and food.
And did they give him a respirator?
They gave it to him Tuesday, and that's when they didn't intubate him correctly, and that's when he died. His body blew up.
I'm just curious, by the way, who is this gentleman that I hear speaking in the back that just said that they're going to make these changes? Who is this person?
I think it's Rabbi Lesser. He's a patient rep in the hospital.
Okay.
In Maimonides. He's the one who basically was on the floor then. I think he's part of the blame till he lied because he knew the truth before and he didn't tell the family members.
Now, when we were at the protest and I spoke about this, they told me that there was 30 COVID patients in Maimonides Hospital. I know you're going to get upset with me, Sawyer, but as of right now, for the last 3 weeks, Hatzolah ambulance, and I just got a printout this morning because I know you guys wanted me to check it. I got into the hospital, and there was 0 COVID patients brought in. I don't know what game they're playing, and I don't know what this mayor, and I'm going to blame the mayor and the governor, because for them, it's a money-making operation. They're sucking money out of the federal government for everybody that dies, for every respirator. Putting a respirator on somebody does not save a man's life, only when he's sick and dying, and you still have to give him a treatment. They're not giving him treatments. So 80%.
How do we know that, Heshy, you say?
Because they're telling us.
There's remdesivir, there is hydroxychloroquine. Are they giving him nothing?
Nothing. Their policy was put them on the respirator till they're able to breathe better, and then we'll do some kind of antibiotics or treatments.
That doesn't make sense.
I know that. Right, Avi? Doesn't
100%.
make sense.
You have to attack the virus.
But Avi, your father went in for his feet, and how did he get COVID?
I believe he got it on Sunday morning, or you could say Saturday.
Did he really die from COVID? Is that what it says on it?
I'm not 100%
Right,
sure.
because he went in for something completely different. Like my cousin went in for her arm that was hurting her. She did an operation, and she died from COVID. It's not possible. It's just not possible, my friends. Now, I want you to know that.
And also, doesn't it take 5 days or something, a few days, like longer than from like Sunday to like?
Yeah, but they intubated him the wrong way. They intubated everybody, and they just stuck the tube in, and they didn't do it right, and that's what killed most of the people in Maimonides, because there was no doctors there.
1,400 people alone, and I want you to know there was an organization called Chesed Shalem that buries the poor for free, and they called me today. They're going to come on my show. 1,300 of those people that had to be, especially when a Jewish person dies, they have to be especially prepped for burial. And they told me 1,300 of those people, they themselves prepped, because a lot of people didn't want to take care of it. They were nervous. And they said, you should have seen how they looked, how terrible they were brought in. 1,300 people just brought in like slobs. And it was terrible the way they were treated. And I'm just telling you, Maimonides Hospital, I'm coming after you. You're going to change your policy, and you're going to fix this policy. You're going to let us watch you. And if you don't let us watch you, I'm going to touch your funding. I'm going after your banking.
I can assure you, Heshy, things are going to get better there. There will be changes. There's a very great man that's, pretty close to the top right now. And ever since he's stepped up, you can be sure.
But why aren't our politicians
all along are not going to continue?
Why aren't our politicians
under his leadership?
Did you call any politicians? Did you not scream at them? What's going on over here? How come they're not stepping up like Amazon? You let Amazon go. You're letting the hospitals get away with it. We're not happy. Avi, aren't these nurses and doctors professionals? You told me you had nurses that you knew about that told you stories.
Well, some nurses said the hospital didn't have enough money to buy things they needed. It was, you could say, the PPE, masks, gloves, things like that. That's what one of the nurses said.
Have you also indicated that the nurse that you had spoken to, or the one that we had heard on a recording, was not just an ordinary nurse? She was a nurse practitioner.
And she lied.
Which is practically the equivalent of a physician.
And she lied, and they have to do a criminal investigation on the 7th floor because she was always there.
Mm-hmm.
So she killed a lot of people. She has blood on her hands, no question. Fact. She's the one that lied, and that's why I recorded her, because she constantly made things up. Not just to me, to all my sisters, to my brothers, and I have a list of people who all know her and all spoke to her. I have a list of names of people I've spoken to. I have multiple recordings of the hospital, and they lied constantly. They didn't have answers. Of course they're not going to have answers. They weren't going in the rooms. How do you expect to take care of a patient?
Avi, are you preparing? Is your family preparing, or have you instituted a wrongful death suit?
So here's the problem. 1 minute before Avi goes ahead with it, the reason why we can't do a wrongful death suit is because the governor himself said we can't sue the hospital. Now, if there were witnesses in the hospital, then you could, even though the governor says you can't sue, as long as there's a witness, you can then file a wrongful death suit against the hospital.
Live recordings don't qualify.
So what live recording?
I think it's something that can probably be taken up by a judge and to define what the governor is.
But this live recording,
what is within what is constitutional. That is a fundamental breach of a person's constitutional rights.
But if you want me to play devil's advocate, all this live recording did was say, "Hey, what's your father's name?" And she lied. But lying is not good enough that they killed him or they mistreated him. You needed a witness.
It seems to me to be quite good evidence of negligence. I mean, if a nurse says that he's resting comfortably and then asks 1 minute later, by the way, who is this patient? That would seem to be and probably bordering on not bordering on genuine recklessness beyond
Right, so
negligence.
I know that when this is all over, I'm going to go after this governor who's an idiot, this mayor who paints Black Lives Matter on the street. The man, you know, you're not allowed
What
to,
an imbecile.
you're not allowed to
The
paint.
worst kind.
I can't even paint my yellow line in front of my house to show where my driveway is. He goes and paints the middle of the street. Trump, it's pure illegal.
Is that so? You cannot paint the
if
yellow
you
line
paint
on
it-
your
If
driveway?
you paint the yellow line on your driveway curb, $800 penalty.
Oh my God!
And the building department is running around. You know, the building department now made new laws. If you're standing too close to somebody, so fine. We all follow the COVID building code laws. Now they came up that you have to put 5 new reports on your paper. You have to put different forms that you sign, and if you're missing one form, $5,000 fine. Not everybody. Not the forms are not always there, or it falls on the floor. These inspectors are coming around now. Just this mayor is just learning a way to fine people.
It's all about making money. He doesn't give two hoots about anybody.
You're locked in your house, and sanitation, you can't clean the sidewalk, and sanitation is giving you garbage tickets. I mean, this is like ridiculous with this mayor. He's
Not to mention that under this mayor, this city has become an open shooting gallery. We're living in the Wild West.
So forget, you know, by the way, 10 shootings last night,
That's
15 the day before. And he gets on television today and he says, oh my God, jails are the lowest since World War II.
Crime has quadrupled.
Right. The man is mentally ill.
More.
Now, I'm not saying that he's just a bum. I'm saying he's just an idiot. The man does not belong.
Imbecile.
He has no people around him that is properly to
He has
help
guns.
him.
The word of the day.
What?
He has guns around him.
He has guns around the people. You know, they should fund his private escort service there, whatever you want to call him. He shouldn't have any protection. But the man goes and he paints Black Lives Matter next to all these people. Again, a protest, but we can't go visit and sit with our people in the hospital. This is a bad man. We can't have camps. We can't have parks. Yes, we're going to do whatever we want. And Governor, send your people. We're going to laugh at you. Go get your court orders. You know, our politicians lost these court cases. And I take responsibility because I should have filed 10 more court cases. Like, I'm going after the building department. I officially retired from business today. I'm semi-retired. And I'm going now to head an organization by a bunch of developers and contractors that are going to help me do some things that are coming up that I'm going to be announcing soon that is going to fight the DOB. And I'm going to defund the Department of Buildings. I'm going after each and every single government agency that keeps screwing and keeps billing us and fining us when we can't do anything. Like, you know, restaurants are gone. Now, I know in my neighborhood, we're going to stand strong. We're going to keep it going. But restaurants are closing. Stores are going out of business. You know, I didn't take any PPE money, and I had to pay my workers for the last 3-4 months because I had an emergency fund. But a lot of people did not have that fund. A lot of people are not in business like me, and they went out of business now. They can't reopen. And a lot of people, $2,000 by the government is not enough to pay your rent. So what did the mayor do? You don't have to pay your rent. You know what, guys? Rent freeze. Not only that, you can't evict. This man just changes the laws, but he's able to go to court. He's able to raise our taxes. You know, everybody's taxes got raised. And then they go to the city council that's supposed to be the most powerful organization in this city, and they accomplish nothing. What they did was they created 12 new legislation laws to force us into new policies, but they didn't do anything to help us. When I get to the city council, yes, I'm not officially announcing anything, Bumi. I did joke around. I wanted to run against Senator Felder. He got in. Again, he tricked us in. We didn't know that he was getting the signatures. He's automatically getting elected. The only way that I could get elected against Senator Felder is if all of you show up in the polls November. And there's a special place that says other. You write the name Heshy Tishler in, I will beat him. But you're not going to do it because we want the same old idiots there, and we're going to leave him in power to do nothing again. I'm not happy with Simcha Felder at all.
No, this is a chronic evil, as you may say.
He didn't even come to the protest.
Never change. It just happens again and again and
People need to register to vote, and people need to go out and vote. Because they're not taking the opportunities that they have to pick the people that they want that are going to do things for our communities.
So I put onto Twitter, Facebook the other day that I have a form. I called the Board of Elections, and they sent me back the form that I can run as an independent against Simcha Felder. I need to file 5,000 signatures by July 30th. Everybody said to me, yes, run. Then there was a bunch of idiots that said, no, you shouldn't run against another Jew. You shouldn't cause trouble. I said, but the man does nothing. The man does nothing. You don't see him only when
it's time for him to retire and be put out to pasture.
Right, but he doesn't say anything.
Heshy, we need you. You need to be the elected official because you do more for us not as an elected official than an elected official.
I go to the hospitals. I get people in. I'm getting 100 calls. I'm running upstate. I'm taking care of kids.
You really do so many ways. Remind me of the way Dove used to run his office and the way things went under Dove's leadership.
And you know what? I'm angry at Dove because he should be announcing one for mayor. We cannot have this Eric Adams running for mayor. The man is another winner. Then we have Jumaane Williams. I mean, I have no problem with Curtis Lewa. That man is okay because I know he'll get up there and threaten and scream. But we're going to have idiots running for mayor. We're going to be in trouble. We need a guy who has smarts, who has a brain, who will build a team around him. But Dove, get your butt up. I know you want to retire. I know you want to go relax now. You put in 36 years, but we're dead, Dove. We're in trouble, and this city's falling apart. They're shooting. We have people dying in our hospitals, and nobody's out there to help us. Now, I know that you guys want to ask me if I'm running for city council. So if you guys write my name for state senator, would be great. But I just opened up in another few days. My official treasurer is going to be opening up our
exploratory committee.
But
I would refrain from directly advising the public as to which particular council seat you will be running for. Now, let's hold off on that.
No. Again,
let them keep guessing. Let them sweat a little bit.
I'm looking for endorsements. I have spoken to our local officials, and I have given my ideas. They do like what I have to say, and they're all nervous when I get into the city council. Heshy, you got to be normal. You can't be screaming. You have to wear a suit. You know, I went to meet a couple of future donors, some people in Williamsburg, very big potential donors to my committee, and they told me that they're going to be backing me. And they said, Heshy, wow, you look so good in a suit. I said, guys, get it out of your head. This is not me. And they were laughing.
Never mind. To some degree, Dove is going to fine-tune you, and you're going to be a Dove-esque type of a public official.
God. Anyways, but listen, we're going to take a few calls right now. And Avi, I want you to answer some calls, and I want you to ask questions, guys. Ask us anything. 718-303-9090. Call us into the show. Ask us anything. Let's take a phone call. Who's on the phone? Hello, you're on the air with Heshy, Sawyer, Bumi, and Avi. Hello?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hi, my name's Nicole Sarotek.
Hello, Nicole.
And
How are you, Nicole?
Hey, good. I'm not too sure if you folks know who I am.
I know who you are. You're the world famous.
Say it. Who is she?
She's a nurse.
A nurse, Nicole. Oh my! You know I love nurses. I always love nurses. I always, when I go to the hospital, they're the first people I hug, kiss. I run around. I do whatever they want. But Nicole, tell us something, Nicole.
Okay, so I'm a nurse, Sata, and I went to New York to help out with the COVID pandemic. And while I was there, I noticed what was happening to my patients and to the patients around me, and I tried to advocate for them. And the first time I advocated for my patients, I got moved hospitals. And the second time I started to advocate for my patient, they moved me off the unit, and I ended up making a viral video explaining how my patients who were COVID positive.
Now I know who you are, Nicole. I've seen you on Facebook and on various other formats.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're a hero.
You're a hero, but Nicole,
very special. Go ahead,
Nicole. They're basically what you're telling me. They're murderers. They killed our family members.
Well, I wouldn't. In some situations, it was direct murder because I did meet a nurse who was not a nurse. They were posing as a nurse. They had no nursing license, and every single patient that person had died. Well, of course, you're not a nurse. And how he got on with the staffing agency, I have no idea. I told my staffing agency about it, but he didn't belong to us, so there was nothing they could do. And I told the hospital about it too, and nobody did anything. I mean,
you mean you advised the hospitals that this nurse has no license, she's not a real nurse, and they didn't do a damn thing about it?
They probably got mad at her too.
Yep.
But Nicole, I have a question for you. What was the problem with letting a family member to stay with them? Is there a problem with a family member to stay with the sick patient and help the nurses? I've been doing this for 30 years, and they always let us come in there. All of a sudden, they don't let us?
I found that to be a problem, but they kept telling us it was just too dangerous. But I kept watching everybody die alone and by themselves. I mean, everyone that was on the unit that I was at was intubated, and every single one of my patients was intubated, but they're at the mercy of what's happening to them. And sometimes I didn't even know the full story behind my patient. I would normally get the full story from the family members, and they weren't there because they wouldn't let them in.
Nicole,
And
when you went home at night, how did you not break down? How did you not cry? I mean, you must be traumatized by what's going on here.
you know, they said that I suffered from like moral injury, but I think
It's
it was
an
more or
interesting
less.
term. Moral injury.
Yes.
Who's they said that you suffered? Who's they?
I talked with the crisis counselor that the staffing agency had for us, and I said, look, they're literally murdering these people, and nobody is listening to me. And what she told me was, I hear that a lot from the nurses. And I'm like, then why isn't anybody doing anything about this? And then she explained to me that moral injury was, you know, being forced to be a part of something that goes against your morals and your ethics. And I'm like, I have been trying to tell people what is happening. I've tried the appropriate channels, and nobody is listening to me, and I can't keep letting this happen.
Nicole, how long are you a nurse?
I've been a nurse for a decade.
A decade. So you're a 10 years more
She's
nurse.
an experienced
You're an
nurse.
experienced nurse. You've treated, I don't even want to say maybe thousands of patients. So you know exactly what's going on, and they wouldn't listen to you, and they mistreated these people. Am I correct? One, they were not taken care of. They were not being properly watched or fed.
Yes, by the time I would get a patient, I would notice that there's no tube feeding material in the room. And I'm like, how long has this person not been fed? He's been on this unit how long? And one time it was up to a week. A person was on a ventilator for a week, and then I get that patient, and I'm like, how come no one fed this patient?
Oh, my God.
What happens, Nicole, when the patient is not fed? What happens to the brain, to the heart? What happens when they don't get nourishment?
Well, in this particular patient, he was a diabetic. And what happens is when you don't eat, you go into what's called ketosis. And this is kind of like an aspect of that keto diet, where your body starts to break down fats and create ketones. And so that will acidify your blood. It's called acidosis. And then what they do is they try to increase the respiratory rate on your ventilator to some astronomical number, like 36. And to blow off that CO2 to help balance the pH of your blood again. And when that doesn't work, as your pH of your blood becomes more acidic, it starts to cause like organ damage.
Organ failure. It starts to do organ failure. No, for people that don't understand all this, you know, terminology, you know, from medical and nursing, it basically your organs, when you are starving a patient and you don't give them food and you take off and you don't give them intravenously something, then their heart, their brain starts to shut down, and they already have a situation, a medical situation.
Nicole, I want to ask you a question. I have on my desk 300 death certificates that I spoke to 7 doctors that told me that they checked off the box corona when they didn't really die from corona. It was easier for them to check off corona because there's no investigation and it goes away. Is that true? Is that something that I'm just making up?
No, I went down to the trauma bay to get a piece of equipment, and there was a person who had died of a stab wound. He was actually CPR in progress is what everybody was saying, and on the computer chart it said died of COVID.
Oh, my God. You see, guys, you guys didn't believe me. Look at this. Here it is. An actual nurse, a woman of respect, a person who is more knowledgeable than all of us combined. Nicole, I love you. You're just a wonderful, holy person, and I know God will reward you for what you've done for us. And I wish you the best. You are just out of this world, Nicole. We're going to make a new protest in Maimonides, and we're going to go after all the hospitals. I don't agree with that. I just want you to know, if it was my family member in there, nobody would hold me back. I would burn that place down and rip it down brick by brick. But a lot of people are scared, and we have a lot of politicians and a lot of people that are making money, and they're just able to hold us back and not sticking up for us. Well, I'm going to make something big. I'm going to make a lot of noise, and I'm going to go after this governor. I'm not going to forgive this mayor. I promise you, I'm going to watch them suffer. And Nicole, what they did to you and made you sad.
Love you, Nicole.
We love you, Nicole. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Yeah, I wish I could have done more. I just felt so powerless. Nobody would listen to me. The administration, the charge nurse,
Yeah,
I mean,
Nicole, I
Nicole,
would love to have the privilege of shaking your hand
Right.
someday,
Nicole-
just because,
She's
you know,
coming.
Nicole, but
you've
I
done.
want to ask you one more question, Nicole. There was a lot of people, a lot of they're telling me that a lot of nurses got sick and died. Is that true? Did the nurses get sick and die as well?
some of the actual nurses that belong to the hospital that I worked at, yes, died initially. When I came on to the unit of the first hospital that I was at, they had just found out that that day that another one of their staff members that they worked with had died. But by the time I got there, the balance of patients to the number of nurses started to balance out and equalize, to the point where we had enough PPE, and I never had more than 2 ventilators at a time. And in my rural hospital, I have actually manned more ventilators at one time than I ever did in New York.
One more question. Was there a shortage of beds or shortage of ventilators in your hospital where you were working?
At the point when I arrived, there was not, because there is a Federal Reserve supply of ventilators that is located there in NYC. They are the LTC 1200 perfusions that sit in a warehouse ready to go.
So we had enough ventilators, we had enough beds. So this man
we were certainly not shortchanged by President Trump in any way in this particular respect.
But the ventilators were defective.
That's the city and the governor. That's the governor. That's our governor.
Yeah. I guess.
Cuomo.
That the funding for the maintenance of these ventilators was cut off or was not renewed, and so they were behind on the maintenance of these ventilators. So when they sent them in, they were behind the 8 ball already, delayed in getting the ventilators to where they needed to be. And it was an issue too, because these ventilators are obsolete. They don't make them anymore. You can only buy refurbished ones, and so we didn't have enough circuits.
Nicole, I would like to hear it from you. Is it true that while these people were on ventilators for COVID-19, that they were not getting any form of other medication? I mean, there are medicines out there. There's remdesivir, there's hydroxychloroquine. There are treatments for COVID-19. They were just receiving nothing other than the ventilator?
Sometimes. It depends. I've seen patients that did get antibiotics. I did see patients that did get some type of a steroid. And I did see that there were experimental going on with the patients in the hospital too. As for me, I hung sedation, which is typically Precedex, propofol, fentanyl, and antibiotics, standard broad spectrum antibiotics to deal with secondary infections that occur from being on a ventilator and having the different, lines being drawn into you that could possibly cause infection.
But a lot of people didn't get anything.
No. At one point, I had patients that were strictly on sedation, nothing else.
Wow.
I was really sedating them to keep them on the ventilator. That's what happened to my little Hispanic lady. I kept advocating to get her off the ventilator because she literally was a perfectly healthy person on the ventilator.
Wow.
And
Nicole,
that's all she had.
Nicole, thank you so much for your call, Nicole. I want to talk to you privately afterwards, and I want you to come back on the show. You've been wonderful, sure. Nicole, and we thank you in New York City for all your services, and we appreciate you, and may God bless you every day.
Amen. God bless you, Nicole.
Well, thanks, guys, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. Wow, guys, did you hear what this holy woman said? Did you hear what she said? Let's take another call, Sawyer, from somebody. Hello, you're on there with Heshy, Sawyer, Bumi, and Avi.
Hi, Heshy. How are you?
Fine.
I think you should be running for president. Skip city council.
The problem with it is, I'm not going to get president, but if I get into the city council, I will be one of 51, especially if Kalman Yeager, which will be reelected, if we run together, we will be 2. That's 5% of the city council. And we forget a couple of other guys who are on the bottom there. I'm going to try to take control, but I'm not going to let them do stuff and make bills and pass things and wake up the last minute and fight them. I'm going to make them that they can't do anything without taking, they're so busy with laws. I'm going to be busy taking care of postpartum depression. I'm going to be busy making sure that we have people watching in the hospital and getting people in. We're going to have civilian representatives, not just patient representatives. We can't have people dying in this city. We can't have children not go to camps. I don't understand we're not opening schools. The whole country, they're saying COVID is going up. By the way, I forgot to tell you this, and I want you to hear this, my caller friend. They're saying there's a 98% increase in COVID in certain states. If you would have read the numbers correctly, it's 9.8. Okay, they're purposely misdoing the numbers. Would
that be CNN, the Clinton News
it's
Network?
Not only CNN, it's also a lot of those people in the health departments. They're just trying to play games to keep us locked up, to get more federal aid, to get the easy way out. And this is just unacceptable. The same way they're killing the people, $39,000. But talk to me, my friend.
Also, don't forget you have to keep on park busting.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to let those parks close. Every time somebody calls me, I go there. They tell me they closed it from the backside. I've been calling superintendents. I told them, the mayor said you have to open those schoolyards up if you want me to make a crazy video. And then the next day, the guys open up those parks. I've been going one after the next.
I passed by yesterday Avenue L. The park was closed in the afternoon.
And that is Simcha Felder's park. That is Simcha Felder, where he stood there, made his thing over there.
Okay, take care.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Let's take another call. Line 5. Hello, you're on the air with Heshy, Sawyer, Avi, and Bumi.
Hello, Avi and Bumi. Question: how did you get your phone back? How did it end up in New Jersey?
Avi, that's for you. How did you get?
There's no visitors. It could be the doctor or the nurse. Who else?
So I understand they stole the phone and they dropped it in Jersey.
It just
who had it? The
last call was on Friday night, and the next call was the new phone I took up to him was Sunday afternoon at around 4.
How did you find the phone?
We tracked it.
Who had the phone? That's the question.
Well, that's somebody that had the phone. We didn't investigate that, but we do know who the person is. We have his number. We have his address. And
so should I ask them, how'd you get the phone?
Well, we didn't get into it. We weren't thinking of that. Now we're just thinking of getting the phone back and getting the phone up to him.
I understand. Heshy, did you meet Gibber by then?
The end of the eggs. No, Mr. Gibbs backed out after I told him that, listen, I got the death certificates. I have the evidence. All I asked to let me in. He backed out the last minute from the meeting. And this guy doesn't understand that he has private funding. He got $200 million bank loan that I'm going to the banks and I'm going to talk to them. We're going to make them a lot of trouble to hold back their money. They merged with another hospital. And I know who this is, my beautiful, delicious friend, Heshy. How are you, my delicious friend? How did they let 1,400 of our people die? Forget the rest of the hospitals. How come hospitals are not letting us in to visit our family members? Only for 4 hours and taking away our phones, taking away our private things. We want to sit there day and night. What's going on, Heshy? How come your councilman, your assemblyman, your state senator, your congressman, how come they're not helping you, Heshy?
What's the answer?
I'll tell you what the answer. Guys like, I don't even want to mention organizations, and I'm going to go after them. A good and JFC, they filed their stupid lawsuits. They think they just show up there so they can collect millions of dollars from you, Heshy, and you're a good man. You donate to all the causes, and they're going to show you they did something stupid, and you're going to give them money, and they're all good to go. And that's all it is. It's a money-maker operation. Why didn't Hatzola come and scream when they stopped bringing patients in? Why didn't our politicians stand with us? They're taking credit, or they're saying, oh, nobody's helping them. They're blaming the governor. I'm blaming them because the governor is an idiot. So you should stand up and scream and holler at the governor. I don't know, Heshy. I don't know.
Doesn't Hatzola get money per patient that they bring into the hospital from the hospital?
15
from the hospital?
Avi, you know
Doesn't that sound a little unethical? I mean, it
was a pick and choose. They decided who to take to Cornell and who to take to Maimonides. If the guy was famous,
who gives them the money?
If he was famous and had money, he ended up in Cornell in one of the rooms upstairs. It was just.
Heshy, can you tell us about the rally today?
So today's rally this morning was this idiot mayor thinks that he's going to defund the police and go against them. These guys work so hard and they're trying their best right now, but this mayor is just every minute blocking them. I heard one of the politicians say before, no, the mayor doesn't want to defund them. He gets on television and telling us he's defunding them. Then he's telling us he's not defunding them. He's lying. So what we did was we went to support a lot of these Christian groups. Jews showed up. We went to support our police and march on the Brooklyn Bridge. And then, of course, a bunch of idiots from Black Lives Matter, which I support Black Lives Matter. I believe in Jewish Lives Matter, Kids Lives Matter,
all lives matter.
I have no problem. I have so many black men. I'm going to be speaking in a black church. I'm going to be speaking in a mosque. I love everybody, but I don't understand why you guys have to counter protest that we're supporting our police. If policemen do bad things, yes, we're going to go after them. But most of them are good. Most of them want to help us. Most of them stop on the street and say hello to you, talk to you, love you. Sheriffs, there's one organization, the Mayor's Task Force. Those people should be thrown off a bridge. Those are animals that just don't even care about us because they're the mayor's little, I know you're going to get angry, Nazi organization. I shouldn't say the word Nazi, but those are his stormtroopers. He sends them out. They don't have no mercy, and they just torture you, just like the building department. They just go out and they torture you. And building department, I'm coming after you. I swear to you, you're the first person I'm going to defund.
Okay, take it.
Bye, Heshy. Let's take line one. Hello, you're on the air with Heshy, Avi, Sawyer, and Bumi.
Yeah, this is Max from Manhattan. Thank you for taking my call, guys. Listen, when you get a patient in there for COVID, signed in as COVID, the first thing they get, the government sends the hospital $13,000. If they die while under your care, they get $39,000. If they die with a ventilator tube down their throat, suffocating, they get $52,000.
So,
and when you go
It's all
in there,
about the Benjamins.
if you die of a heart attack, they write down COVID. If you in a car accident, they get your body, they write down COVID.
You heard Max. You heard Max Nicole, the nurse, before. She says a guy with a stab wound.
There are other nurses that have been talking. There got a couple on Alex Jones's show. They went on his show and they started talking. So it's all over the place.
So this is not made up, Max.
So if you neglected, you get paid for it by the insurance.
It's an incentive.
If you neglect, you can get paid for it by the insurances. They should pay the patients.
Unfortunately, the one who suffers most is Avi and his brother.
You're right, Max. Thank you for my call. Thank you for your call. You're wonderful, and I want you to pay attention to what I give. Watch my Justin of Heshy Facebook and YouTube's, and you're going to see another protest. And we're not going to let this mayor and governor get away with anything. Thank you, Max. And don't vote for Nadler. Bye bye. Take line two, Sawyer. You're on the air with Heshy, Avi, Sawyer, and Bumi.
Hi, Heshy. This is your CEO in Manhattan of your fan club. I want to tell you something. When you win your seat in the council chamber, I think everybody should buy stocks in Bayer because of Alka-Seltzer. They're going to everybody need Alka-Seltzer in that city council chamber because you're going to make everybody sugar the way.
I just want you to know. I want you to know. I keep telling people, and I told it to one of my interviews. There's a city council channel. They're so boring. They pick their noses, and you want to die watching that channel. When I get into the city council, that's going to be the #1 show on TV because I'm going to show you, and I'm going to go to different districts. I'm going to go to my black districts. I'm going to go to the Hispanic, even outside my own district. And I'm going to tell them, look at your councilman. He does nothing. He wants to vote. He wants to kiss butt and get something else. I am not going to let them live. I'm not going to let them pass one piece of legislation without making sure everybody in this city knows about it because we don't even know.
From it.
And benefits from it. We need stuff for our people. They're just stupid and taxes and punishment and fines, and they don't care about us. And they make us sick. And they make us commit suicides, and they don't care. And you know what? This idiot mayor wants to defund the police by $1 billion. His wife blew $1 billion on research.
She's running for something.
And she's going to be right. And we're going to elect his wife. I'm going to have to. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
We need to smarten up and not vote for these people.
Right.
We need to vote for Heshy.
You are wonderful for your call.
I want to come to the council chamber, give out Alka-Seltzer for everybody.
You're welcome, my brother.
Thank
You're
you
welcome. Just when I run, don't forget to support me. Hello, let's take another caller. You're on the air with Heshy, Bumi, Sawyer, Avi.
I'm thinking that to be casually cruel is a necessary condition for leading a so-called normal existence, and it just seems natural that such a person would lie or fail to give an honest response or even respond at all. That's my experience lately with doctors.
Well, you know what? Doctors are good people, but they're still a business. You know,
their time is not their own.
But the point is doctors are paid. It's a business for them, and like my son was telling me the other day. I had a big fight with my son over the weekend, and I screamed at him. He says, "Pop," he says, "how could the doctors be wrong? The hospital is always right. The doctors are always right. The nurses are always right." I said, "No, Yaakov. It's a business. They themselves are out to. They have to follow the rules." I said, "Most of them don't have private businesses because doctors have to be salesmen. And
a young doctor would be struggling under a load of debt.
Right, a load of debt. So he works for the hospital that gives him his insurances, that covers him. So he will say whatever the hospital says. And a lot of people, I have people who are very qualified workers, and if they went on their own, they could make a lot of money. And I've taught a lot of people who've worked for me to go out on their own. I help a lot of people who come out from jail to get jobs and go back into life and society. But you know what? Here's my problem. Some of them just want to be complacent and stay and be secure. And this is where they are. They're stuck there, and they must follow this hospital policy, and they're scared to shiver, not like Nicole, who stood up and said, and not only Nicole, it's a lot of other people. And people like Avi, a lot of family members are scared to step forward because they're so happy it's, that they're not being punished, or the pain is over and they don't know what to do, and they can't fight the system.
But this moral injury, they're obviously they're steeled. They're steeled to be casually cruel. Yeah. They would go against a person's sense of morality.
People are not. You see, I'm not scared. Thank you for your call. I love you, caller. I am not scared to fight the city. They threatened to come after my taxes. I said, be my guest. I had a guy recently. We took out of jail for about 1.5 years, and he's now having problems with being locked up, not being working. He tells me, Heshy, I want to go back to jail. He says, I can't go on like this. I can't pay the rent. I can't have food in my house. I'm begging again. I was doing so well. You keep on top of me. And I'm telling him to hold strong. I said, we came a long way. I know that it's a bad time. But it's not only him. It's a lot of mothers. It's a lot of people just giving up. And this mayor and governor doesn't care. They just do whatever they want to do and do it. Take another caller before we end our show.
Local officials are not helping either.
Right.
Hello, you're on the air with Heshy, Bumi, Soya, and Avi. Hi.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Heshy. Hi, Heshy. My name is Shloimi. There's a very big, they call it an elephant in the room. Now with the whole COVID situation, everything is the one problem that people are not addressing. There have been a lot of family problems since people were locked home and locked in their homes for a long time. And people don't realize there are a lot of divorces in the community and separations. And what comes out of that is one very big problem that
we're going to talk about that, as a matter of fact, in the future show. Yeah.
Yeah, but Heshy, this is something that people need to be aware about. What goes on in situations like this is the parental alienation, where kids are being alienated from their parents, and this is something that needs to be addressed, and especially a person like you.
Attorney to deal with
we're going to talk about that, but thank you for your call. That was very good. We're gonna thank you for your call. I hope you like our show.
Oh, we do. Thank you.
So, Avi, we're going to end the show now, but I want to ask you a question, Avi. Some parting words, Avi. What do we do? Where do we go fight? I mean, you and me are going to sit down and we're going to mesh out and we're going after them. We have people now, and you have people that are going to support us and are going to make sure that people come to our demonstrations. But besides that, Avi, you told me you have a lot of people that are going to fly in from different states even to come and speak by us.
Yeah, different nurses who spoke out. For example, Nicole, who just called in. She was on TV. There's a lot of nurses who actually called in.
And you get calls all day long from different stories.
Probably hundreds.
Hundreds of calls of people telling you story after story. So what we're saying to the public is not just a one thing isolated incident.
And this is not just in one hospital alone.
It's all over.
It's all over.
Wow. And I'm very upset. Ladies and gentlemen of our audience, I just want you to know it's time that we stand together. Don't tell me you can't find out about these protests. Don't tell me it's not time to call your councilman, your assemblyman, state senator, because you know what's going on. It's all over TV every 2 minutes. Oh, stay safe. Oh, stay home. You don't hear the ambulances anymore. You don't hear the sirens anymore. Still, we have COVID. People are protesting. None of the protesters get sick. But
actually, I still say, you know me, I still say it's good to be cautious anyway. To always exercise caution.
I have no problem. You want to be cautious, be whatever it is, but don't force it. I mean, there was a sheriff. I forgot what time. I saw a video of a sheriff. He got up, I think.
He's not enforcing wearing masks. That's not his job.
It's a stupid thing. It's not his job to make. Which idiot does this?
He said he does wear a mask, though. He's not enforcing other people to do so.
But you can do whatever you want. Vegas is open. Restaurants are open in different places. Phase 3. And by the way, just because the COVID spike happened, a lot of people have COVID. Doesn't mean that the COVID sickness or the what's it called again? Asymptomatic. So they're testing. And by the way, I'm going to tell you the story that I saw 100 times on the internet. Somebody went in to get a test for COVID. They sat for 2 hours. When they didn't get tested, they picked themselves up and left. They put their name on the list. They got a call 2 days later, you are positive for COVID. He says, I never even took the test. This is what and they get paid because when you're positive, this agency or this lab gets a little extra money, or they get paid for this test. It's a game that they got, like I heard our councilman said on this thing before. When we were locked up, they put up a lot more cameras. Why would you be putting up cameras when there's COVID and nobody on the street? Why would you put up more speeding cameras? Driving down Ocean Parkway, it's not normal to drive 25 miles an hour. Okay, and now they made it to go down and they're putting up cameras. They're punishing us. They want to big brother us. They want to put, I don't know what else they want to do to us.
They're slowly taking away our constitutional rights. One by one, we are getting less and less and less, and we're paying more and more and more.
And you're right. And you know what? I do. The reason why the Black Lives Matter, even though I'm not really happy with some of the things they do, but it's important because you are abusing the poorer people, the people that have been tortured. We are a country that have stood up by our bootstraps.
But violence is not to be heard.
Violence is not acceptable.
Not acceptable.
But they've put these people in such a situation where they have to be, they're just aggravated. They're breaking down. Anyways, we're coming to the end of our show. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to our callers. Thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Avi, for coming on the show. Soya Bumi, I love you.
Good night.
Let's come back next Wednesday. We have a more better show.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Program is a paid advertisement. The opinions and views expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of AM 620 WSNR or its management.
This is AM 620 WSNR.